CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I noticed that these kind of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might make the experience a little creepier. So tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? I found a dark web Hitman list. My dad's name was on it. Alright, so this is something I never thought I'd share publicly. And tonight you'll hear this one on CreepyCorner Stories. Shout out to this channel for letting me tell this story. Okay, so I've been sitting on this for months now, and I feel like if I don't say something, someone else might get hurt. Or worse. Before we get into the whole Hitman list thing, let me just say this. I'm not some hacker. I'm not in some deep web cult or anything like that. I'm just a normal 19-year-old dude. I live in a pretty quiet suburb in northern Illinois, about an hour outside Chicago. I work at a local GameStop. Yeah, still exists somehow. Hang out with friends, scroll TikTok too much, and occasionally get into weird internet rabbit holes when I can't sleep. And that's where this started. It was late June, like the kind of late where it's technically July, but you're still on Discord with your friends pretending like you're gonna sleep soon. You know the vibe. I had work off the next day, and I was binge watching those dark web horror stories, compilations on YouTube. The animated ones, like from Here's My Story or Onesie Entertainment. Stuff you watch at 2 a.m. and then check your door lock 5 times afterward. One video caught my attention though. This guy claimed he bought access to something called the Crows List. According to him, it was a black market database you could only get into through a direct invite on the deep web, and it listed names of people supposedly targeted by hitmen, like actual hitmen, assassins. I rolled my eyes at first, but dude's story was weirdly detailed. I even paused the video and started Googling Crow's List Dark Web just to see if it was based on something real. Nothing came up, but that only made me more curious. I'd messed around with Tor before, mostly out of curiosity, browsing onion forums, checking out the weird side of the internet like everyone else does when they first hear about it in high school. But I never actually bought anything or went too deep. This time though, I felt like I needed to check. I don't know why. Maybe it was boredom. Maybe it was that sick curiosity you get when you're walking past a crime scene and you want to look even though you know it's wrong. So I booted up my old laptop, the junky Dell one I use when I don't want my main PC involved in sketchy stuff. I fired up Tor, connected through a VPN, did all the paranoid stuff you're supposed to do, and started browsing. After like an hour of dead links and forums full of trolls and fake drug sites, I found something. A small post on an old onion board called Dead Sparrow. Someone mentioned Crow's Nest access key in a thread titled Contract Lists, Don't Ask How. It was super vague, but the guy claimed if you sent a certain string of Bitcoin to a listed wallet, you get a password and access URL. Now I know what you're thinking. Stupid move, right? It probably was, but I didn't send money. I just copied the address and started digging, and somehow I found the link. It was this long, ugly onion address, just a wall of characters, and when I clicked it, it asked for a key. That was the scary part, because the page looked real. It wasn't flashy or anything, just a black background, red text, very minimalist, but it didn't feel like a joke. There were no ads, no fake pop-ups, nothing to clickbait me, just a field that said, enter access key. I didn't have one, so I tried something dumb. I typed guest_access and hit enter. It worked. I swear on everything, I'm not making this up. The page flickered for a second, then loaded into what looked like a list. Just a huge scrolling list of names. It was alphabetical, with dates next to them. Some of them had red skull icons next to them. Others had countdown timers. That's when I realized what I was looking at. This was a hit list, and not a movie-style hit list. Like, real people. I started recognizing names. There was a local cop on there from my town, Officer Ramirez. I remembered her because she helped direct traffic when my school bus crashed back in middle school. There was a local influencer too, some girl who runs a fitness page on Instagram with like 80,000 followers. Her name was marked with a red countdown. 5 days. I scrolled more. It was so long, I couldn't even guess how many names were on it. Hundreds, maybe thousands. Then I searched my own last name. I didn't expect anything to come up, but it did. There were 2 results. Mark Holloway, red skull icon, execution complete. Daniel Holloway, countdown, 13 days. My dad's name is Daniel Holloway. I sat there in my chair, stomach turning, fingers frozen on the trackpad. I refreshed the page, thinking maybe it was a glitch or some prank, but it stayed the same. 13 days. My dad had 13 days left. That's when I backed out. I slammed my laptop shut, like a little kid watching a scary movie alone. I paced around my room for like 10 minutes, trying to convince myself it was fake. Just one of those weird ARG things people put together to creep you out. But it felt too real. The layout, the way the timers updated in real time, the specificity of it all. I didn't tell my dad at first. He was asleep when it happened, and I didn't want to wake him up and say, "Hey, so I found your name on a Hitman website, on the dark web, LOL." Instead, I went back the next night. Same process, same list. But this time, the timer was down to 12 days, 6 hours, 44 minutes. It was counting down. I clicked his name. A small profile popped up. It had his photo, his actual photo, the one from his LinkedIn. There was also a file ID and a status bar. Tracking, in progress. Location, known. I wanted to throw up. I hadn't told anyone this next part, not even the cops. But when I looked closer, there was a button underneath the file that said, "View contract details. Login required." Yeah, login required, meaning someone out there has access. Someone ordered this, and someone is watching. A lot of stuff happened after that. Some of it's still hard to explain. All I'll say for now is this. I think someone followed me home that night, and I'm not sure my dad's the only one on the list anymore. I didn't sleep after I found that timer. I just sat there on the floor of my room, lights off, laptop still closed, staring at the carpet. I kept trying to convince myself I imagined the whole thing, that maybe I was dreaming, that this was some stupid deep web roleplay site that scrapes public info. But the countdown kept updating, and I kept going back. Every time I refreshed, it ticked lower. 12 days, 11 days, 10 days. And then something happened. Something that made everything real in a way I wasn't ready for. On the 7th day, my dad was almost killed. I'm not exaggerating, and I'm not making this up. This wasn't a mugging or an accident. This was a full-blown execution attempt. It was a Friday. He left for work like normal. He's a regional sales director for some office supply company. Super boring stuff. He drives out to meetings, makes deals, and is usually back home before dinner. He texted me around 3 p.m. saying he'd be stopping by a Starbucks on the way back. And then, nothing. At 4:32 p.m., I got a call from an unknown number. Normally I let those go to voicemail, but something in my gut told me to answer. It was a paramedic. My dad had been found in his car, slumped over the steering wheel in the Starbucks parking lot off I-90. Someone tried to poison him. They said he was lucky. Someone saw him throwing up outside the car before collapsing and called it in. He was alive, but barely. They found residue of cyanide in his coffee cup. That wasn't even the worst part. There was no order history on the Starbucks app, no receipt, no name called out. The cup had been left on his driver's side window. Whoever it was knew what car he drove, what time he'd be there, and they watched him drink it. They wanted to watch. At the hospital, he kept saying the same thing through his vomiting and confusion. She smiled at me. She smiled before she walked away. I asked him what he meant, and he kept repeating it. He said it was a woman, blonde, blue coat, walked past his car, smiled like they knew each other, then disappeared behind the building. That detail haunts me, because when I checked the website that night, the status changed. Attempt 1, failed. New contractor assigned. 6 days remaining. I started doing something I didn't even know I was capable of. I started following people. I made a burner Instagram account and used it to track local hashtags, locations. I started watching people in real life, at gas stations, shopping centers, parking lots, watching for patterns, watching for that smile, that creepy, confident, I know you're about to die smile. Because here's the thing, I think this goes deeper. I think this isn't just Hitman. This is some kind of network, like an underground murder for entertainment scheme. And the next thing I found, I swear to God, it chilled me more than the cyanide. I discovered a second website. It was buried inside the source code of the Crow's list, like hidden metadata, a weird string of characters that, when run through a base 64 decoder, led to another .onion site called Mirror Rain View. This site was different. It had live feeds. You know those YouTube streams of security cams in random places, like weather cameras, street corners in Tokyo, 24/7 fish tank streams. Yeah, imagine that, but real-time CCTV from inside people's homes, bedrooms, basements, car interiors, all grainy, all silent, all terrifying. Some showed people sleeping. Some showed people eating dinner. One showed a guy crying in his bathroom, holding a picture of a kid. Another one, I wish I never clicked, showed a child's room, completely empty except for a red tricycle. The camera moved slightly, like someone was holding it. Some feeds had timers at the bottom right. Some had usernames. Some had bidding prices. Session 203, live, $2,000. Starting bid, knife preferred, ends in 11 minutes. I watched the chat. It was full of anonymous monsters, bidding casually like it was eBay. One message stood out. He wasn't supposed to be home. That phrase kept showing up, in different rooms, different chats, over and over. She wasn't supposed to be home. They got the schedule wrong. Abort. He's not alone. She's with the child. Fucking amateurs. They were watching their victims, scheduling their deaths, timing them down to the minute, and sometimes they got it wrong. I tried to copy the video stream link, but the site blocked screenshots, and then the screen turned red. A new message popped up. User trace detected. Access revoked. Session logged. I closed everything and smashed my laptop's Wi-Fi card with a hammer. I'm not kidding. I physically destroyed my only access point to that site because I was 100% sure they saw me. Then came the most horrifying part. A USB drive showed up in my mailbox 2 days later. No note, just a matte black USB in a tiny manila envelope. No stamp, no return address. I shouldn't have plugged it in, but of course I did. There was one video file on it, titled 06D Holloway.ave. It was a video of my dad, sleeping, from inside our house. The angle was from the hallway. You could see the bedroom door slightly cracked. Camera zoomed just enough to catch his chest rising and falling. But that wasn't all. At 1 minute and 42 seconds, a figure steps into frame, tall, wearing a black hoodie, mask with a cartoon smile painted on it. They tilt their head slightly, just watching, breathing. Then they hold up something, a kitchen knife. They raise it, and then lower it again, slowly, intentionally, like they're teasing. Then they step back into the shadows and disappear. The video ends with text over black. Do not interfere again. I don't know how they got in. I don't know how long they've been watching, but that video broke something in me. I packed a bag, grabbed my dad, and we left town that night. We drove west. No GPS, no credit cards, staying at shady motels and using burner phones. But the countdown continued. I checked from public libraries and prepaid phones. 5 days, 4 days, 3 days. On the second day, I checked again, expecting to see the timer drop. But instead, I saw this. Status. Contract cancelled. Replacement assigned. Holloway Jr. That's me. I'm the new target. If you're reading this and you think I'm making this up, check your security cameras. Check your baby monitors. Check your back door before you go to bed tonight. If they're watching me, they're probably watching others too. Let me know if you want the next part. It gets worse. Way worse. You ever feel like someone's waiting for you to scream? Not like you're in danger, but like they're waiting for it. Listening. Waiting for that perfect pitch of panic. That final crack in your voice. That's what this feels like. Like a test. Like I'm a rat in a maze. And somewhere behind a blacked out monitor, a bunch of smiling psychopaths are taking notes. I thought I was running, but I was walking right into it. We stayed in a motel outside of Rapid City, South Dakota. No cameras, no Wi-Fi, cash only. Looked like it hadn't been cleaned since 2002. My dad barely spoke. He wasn't the same after the poisoning, after seeing that video. And after I told him I was next, he just kind of broke. He sat on the bed every night with a crowbar in his lap. Never slept more than 20 minutes at a time. I caught him muttering stuff under his breath like, "It's not real. It's not real. No one could do this." I wish he was right. On the third night, around 3:14 a.m., we heard scraping. Not footsteps. Not banging. Scraping. Like metal on pavement. Like something was being dragged. We killed the lights instantly and crouched behind the bed. It sounded like it was coming from outside, near the alley behind the building. I peeked through the dusty blinds. There was a van, white, no plates, headlights off, driver's door open. Then I saw something that still replays in my head like a broken record. A man in a rabbit mask, dragging a duffel bag across the parking lot. He moved in these twitchy, jerking motions like he was glitching. Not natural, not human. The bag was leaving a wet trail. He stopped right under the light post, unzipped the bag, and dumped what was left of someone's dog onto the pavement. Not the whole dog, not even most of it, just pieces, bones, skin, teeth. Then he turned his head, slowly, deliberately, and looked up at our room. Not the building, our window. He waved. The next morning, we left before the sun came up. That was day 2. I tried logging back into the site using a burner laptop I bought from a pawn shop in Nebraska. It took a few tries, but eventually I got back into the original Crow's List portal. My name was still there. The countdown was gone. Now it just said, "Session active, view stream." They were filming me. I clicked the stream, and the footage that popped up, it was a live feed of me, sitting in the motel lobby the day before, reading a newspaper, drinking a Coke. The timestamp was from 8 hours ago. Another feed loaded automatically. Me walking out of the gas station last night. Another. Me sleeping in the car the night we stopped at a rest stop in Wyoming. Angle after angle. Footage from places I never saw cameras. From places where no one should have been that close. They were building a profile. Logging movements. Studying behavior. For what? Entertainment. Because that's the part I hadn't figured out until then. This wasn't just about money or contracts. This was performance. This was content. I finally found the page they didn't want me to see. It was called Red Rooms Live. Most people think Red Rooms are an urban legend. Those stories about live streams where people pay to watch torture, to vote on what happens to the victim. Everyone says they're fake, just made up creepypasta stories. They're not. The site was silent. No music, no UI sounds, just black background, red text, and 3 active feeds. Each had a simple title. The Painter, 41 viewers. Nora's Game, 67 viewers. Holloway Jr., 103 viewers. That last one. That was mine. I clicked on it, and the stream opened to a live drone feed of me and my dad walking out of a diner 10 minutes earlier. Then a second camera popped up, a low-angle shot from under our motel bed. I slammed the laptop shut. There was a camera in the room. We tore the place apart, pulled the mattress up, ripped the lining off the bed frame, opened the AC unit. We found it. A black lens, no larger than a quarter, drilled into the wall socket. Inside, a memory chip and a tiny motion sensor. Industrial-level surveillance gear, not something you pick up from Best Buy. I crushed it with the crowbar, and we left everything behind. We started sleeping in the woods after that, in the car, in campgrounds. No people, no signal, no tech. My dad kept the crowbar. I carried a hunting knife I bought from a gas station near Bighorn Canyon, but it didn't matter. They were still watching. On the final night, the night I should have died, something changed. We stopped at a public bathroom near a closed-off hiking trail, middle of nowhere. The kind of place that doesn't even exist on Google Maps. No power, just a wooden stall and a broken sink. My dad said he needed to piss, told me to stay in the car. I waited. 10 minutes passed. 15. I started to worry. I grabbed the flashlight and headed to the bathroom. Called his name. No answer. The bathroom door was slightly open, creaking from the wind. I pushed it open, and the floor was covered in blood, but there was no body, just his crowbar, and a phone. Not his. It was a burner. Old. No lock screen. Just one app on it, with a red logo that said, "The Final Show." I tapped it. It opened a video, not live, pre-recorded. It was me, tied to a chair, screaming. Except I didn't remember this. I had no bruises, no cuts. But there I was, gagged, panicking, blood running down my legs. The video glitched, replayed the same frame twice. Then text appeared. Want to see how it ends? Turn around. I dropped the phone and turned around, expecting to see someone there. But there was no one, just the dark, the trees, the silence. Then, a low whirring sound started, mechanical, close. I looked up. A drone was floating 20 feet above me, silent but present, its lens glowing red. It blinked once, then shot up into the sky and disappeared into the clouds. I ran. I didn't stop running for what felt like hours. When I finally got back to the car, my dad was there, alive, no injuries, just standing next to the car, staring off into the woods. I screamed his name, hugged him, asked him where he went. He didn't respond. He just turned his head and said, "You passed." We drove back home the next day. When I tried checking the site again, it was gone. URL invalid, domain not found, everything wiped. Even the old message boards I found it on, deleted, like it never existed. So now, here I am, back in Illinois, back in my bed, back in my normal life. Except it's not normal, because last night I got an email, no sender, no subject, just a message. Thank you for playing. Attached was a video file. It was my funeral. No one was crying. Everyone was smiling. And standing behind the casket was me. You ever get that feeling like you're remembering something that hasn't happened yet? Like deja vu, but deeper. Like your bones already know how it ends. Like your blood's been here before, and it's just waiting for your mind to catch up. That's what it feels like now. Like I died already, and they're just letting me walk around long enough to enjoy it. That email, the one with the funeral video, it wasn't a joke, because everything since then, it hasn't felt real. After we got back to Illinois, everything looked the same. Our house, our neighbors, my old bedroom, but the air felt different, heavy, like I was being pulled into the floor. My dad was barely speaking. He'd started doing these weird routines. Every night at 11:43 p.m. exactly, he'd unplug the router, take the batteries out of the fire alarms, and flip every mirror in the house to face the wall. Then he'd sit in the living room with all the lights off, just whispering to himself. Sometimes I'd hear him say, "It's watching from the reflection. You're not supposed to see yourself anymore." They replaced me. That last one stuck with me, because one night I caught him staring at himself in the bathroom mirror. He was smiling, but the rest of his face was crying. I tried to go back to my normal life. I really did. Went back to work at GameStop, hung out with friends, started posting again on TikTok like none of it happened. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was following me, like I wasn't alone in my own skin. The first real sign happened 3 days after the funeral video. I got a call from a friend, Liam. We went to high school together. I hadn't seen him in months. He sounded panicked. "Dude, are you okay?" "Yeah. Why?" "You're at my house." I blinked. "No, I'm not." "Bro, someone who looks exactly like you just walked past my front yard. Hoodie, same backpack you used to wear, same fucking walk. I thought it was you until I realized." He didn't blink. He just stared through the window. For like 5 minutes, I thought it was a prank at first, until he sent me the ring cam footage. And there I was, same clothes, same posture, same face. But it wasn't me. I paused the video and zoomed in. The guy had a smile carved into his face. Not makeup, not a mask. A literal Glasgow grin. Stitches along the corners of his mouth, like someone had sewn a smile onto him. That night, I found a VHS tape on our porch. Yes, a VHS tape. No return address. No packaging. Just the word home scrolled across it in black Sharpie. We don't even own a VCR anymore. But my dad did. He dug one out from the attic, hooked it up like he was in a trance. I begged him not to play it. He didn't listen. We watched in silence. The footage was my bedroom, except it wasn't filmed from inside. It was filmed from behind the wall. You could see a small, hidden compartment behind the drywall, just wide enough for a camera lens. The video was hours long, days maybe. I watched myself sleep, eat, cry. I watched myself scratch my arm, bloody during nightmares I don't remember having. And at the 9-hour, 34-minute mark, the camera zoomed in slightly, and a gloved hand reached through the hole. It touched my pillow, and then it pulled back, but not before leaving something behind. A single tooth. I checked my pillow immediately. Nothing. But under the bed, there was a tooth. Not mine, not my dad's. A child's. Still bloodstained. Still warm. We took it to the cops. We broke down in the precinct like lunatics, screaming, crying, begging them to believe us. You know what happened? They brought in a detective. Older guy. Cold face. Thin lips. He took the VHS, walked into the back room for analysis, and never came back. 30 minutes later, a different officer told us they lost the evidence. When we demanded the footage be pulled from the cameras, he said, "Sir, that detective doesn't work here. There's no record of him ever being employed." My dad puked in the trash can. Later that night, we got another delivery. This time, a manila envelope. No return address, no stamps. Inside were 4 Polaroids. Me brushing my teeth. My dad asleep on the couch. The detective from earlier, dead. Face split open like a blooming flower. A close-up of the back of my head. The 4th photo had writing on the back. "It's not murder if you're already dead." I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even blink. At 2:44 a.m., the TV turned itself on. It wasn't on a channel. It wasn't static. It was live footage of me, sitting in the living room. Same angle as the Polaroid. I grabbed a knife and smashed the screen. The power cut out instantly, and then my dad screamed. I ran to his room. He was pointing at the mirror. But this time, there was no reflection, only a hole. A black, endless void in the shape of a person. Like the mirror was a door, and something had walked through it. He whispered, "They took me." I'm just the version that came back. I didn't understand what he meant, but I do now. This morning, I woke up with bruises around my wrists and mud under my fingernails. No memory of last night. Checked the front lawn. Grave. Shallow. Freshly dug. I collapsed, digging it up. Hands shaking. Breath gone. I didn't want to see it. I knew what it was, but I had to. Inside the grave was a body bag, zip-tied shut. I opened it. It was me. Or another me. Face chewed off. Fingertips cut. Chest carved with the word recast. There's no way to explain it anymore. No more theories. No more hacker cult. No secret network. It's bigger than that. It's a reality game. A rewriting. A purge of identity. They're replacing us. Re-recording our lives like failed pilots of a show that never aired. Scrubbing us clean and casting in new versions. Better actors. Better screams. The last message I received was on my phone. Just now. No number. Just a video. I clicked it. It was me, again, sitting at this desk, typing this. Only this version was smiling, wider, lips split open, eyes gone. He leans into the camera and whispers, "You're not telling the story. You're the story. They're done watching. Now they want to step in." I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know if I'm real. If you're real. If you're reading this, I don't think you're a reader. Your audience. And I'm just another episode. I haven't slept in 92 hours. Not because I don't want to, but because every time I close my eyes, I'll wake up somewhere else. It started 2 nights ago, maybe 3, after I found the second version of me, buried in the lawn. I tried to run. I left the house barefoot, blood still on my hands, dirt under my nails, breath slicing my throat like razors. I drove my car down the OD55 without headlights, phone left behind, wallet tossed out the window. I thought if I'd went far enough, fast enough, I could leave it behind. But the signs changed. Not the billboards, the street signs. They didn't have street names anymore. They just said, "You can't leave. Stop driving." Wrong version. That last one made my skin turn inside out. I pulled over near an abandoned truck stop, somewhere between Peoria and hell. Lights all dead. Gas pumps gutted like corpses. The building looked half melted, like it had been there before time was invented. Inside was nothing but mirrors. No shelves, no registers, no products, just mirrors. Each mirror had me in it. Different versions. One with no jaw, one with all white eyes, one with a gaping hole in his stomach where something was still moving. One of them was just a skin sack, writhing as if it hadn't been filled yet. I blinked, and they all turned to look at me. At the same time, there was a TV in the back corner, a CRT, static humming like flies. I didn't turn it on. It turned itself on when I got close. It showed footage I'd never seen before. My mom. I haven't mentioned her because she died 10 years ago in a house fire. That's what they told me. But in the video, she was alive, chained to a chair, screaming. Not words. Screaming like something was peeling her alive from the inside. Behind her, written on the wall in blood, Season 1, Episode 0, Pilot never aired. The video ended with her eyes going blank, mouth still moving, like she was repeating a line, like this had been scripted. I heard footsteps behind me, turned around. No one was there. But the mirrors, they were all smiling now. I collapsed outside in the dirt and cried until I threw up. My nose bled black, not red, not dark red, black, thick, like oil. Then my phone rang. I never brought it. It was in my hand. No number, no interface, just a single line of text. "You've been renewed." I woke up in a hospital. At least that's what it looked like at first. White walls, bleach stench, monitors, beeping. But something was off. Every patient in the hallway had a plastic smile mask melted onto their face. You couldn't tell if they were alive or dead, just lying there, still, all of them breathing in sync. And the nurses, they had no eyes, not sockets, just smooth skin where their faces should have been. They wheeled me into an operating room. I screamed, fought, bit a nurse's arm. My teeth snapped off like chalk. No blood came out of her. She didn't flinch, just whispered, "Don't worry. You won't remember the pain. You're not you anymore." The surgeon wore a human face, not a mask. A face, stitched to his head like a trophy. Too big for his skull. One eye hole sagging, the lips glued shut with a safety pin. He raised a scalpel and said, "Cut in for time. Too many characters this season. I don't know how I escaped. Maybe I didn't. because when I woke up again, I was home, back in my bed, but the walls were slightly off, too white. The shadows didn't fall right, and everything was silent. No wind, no cars, no birds, just the buzzing in my ears. I opened my phone and saw the camera was recording, except I never turned it on. I checked the gallery. There were hundreds of videos, all of me, doing things I don't remember doing, laughing, dancing, crying, screaming, killing. One clip showed me standing over someone with a knife, chanting, "This isn't blood, it's ink. I'm just rewriting the script." Another showed me skinning something, not an animal, not human, just wrong, like it was made for a body that hadn't been born yet. I thought about ending it. I really did. I went into the garage, grabbed the rope, tied it to the beam. But when I looked up, there was already a noose there, and it was already swinging. The TV turned on again. This time, it showed you. Yes, you. Reading this, watching, listening. A live feed, reflected in the screen, and text appeared. Audience identified. Commence final episode. The house began to shift, walls breathing, floors twitching. My bedroom collapsed inward like a folding stage. The ceiling peeled back, revealing lights, studio lights. Massive, blinding. Applause played from somewhere. But it wasn't real applause. It was looped audio, too perfect, too clean, like a laugh track. Like they weren't laughing at the story. They were laughing at me. They were never scared. They were never impressed. This wasn't horror to them. It was comedy. Tragedy rewritten as entertainment. A man walked out of the wall, not through the door, out of the wall. He was tall, lanky, wearing a suit made of stitched-together police uniforms, security vests, and doctor scrubs. His face was blank, no mouth, just a glowing red triangle where his nose should be. He handed me a script. It said, "Season finale, the boy who thought he was real. Scene 1, he begs. Scene 2, he breaks. Scene 3, he becomes one of us." I dropped it. He picked it up, stuffed it into my mouth. I woke up tied to a wooden chair, just like in the videos, just like I feared. Camera in front of me, lights on. A voice echoed from the void. "Smile. We're live," I screamed. But it wasn't my voice. It was laughter. A studio audience, laughing, cheering, applauding. And then the lights went out. Just now, my phone vibrated. One last message, airdropped to my device from unknown. "Thank you for watching. Reboot coming soon. You'll love the new cast attached. A photo. It's you, staring at the screen, from the other side, smiling. There is no off button. There never was. You weren't reading a story. You were activating the signal." NASA's lost Apollo tapes are on the dark web. I downloaded them. They weren't about the moon. Welp, real life is not same as the movies. So many kids want to be astronauts and explore the beauty of the universe. And if there is someone younger than 18, please skip this story or leave this video, because I will disappoint you. This is my first time posting here. And honestly, I don't even care if this gets taken down or people think I'm trolling. I just need to put this somewhere. Somewhere people might actually see it. If I disappear, you'll know why. So I'm a 23-year-old film student in Seattle. Pretty normal dude, I guess. I like making short horror skits, drinking too much Starbucks, and messing around on Reddit and Discord. I'm into creepy internet lore, analog horror channels, stuff like Gemini Home Entertainment, Local 58, the Walton Files, all that. It started as inspiration for school projects, but I think I went too deep. Like, dark web deep. No, not the fake Red Room torture livestream kind of crap people make up for views. I'm talking about the real hidden forums, the ones with 2008 era UIs, usernames like /NoEyes44 and OrbitMask7, and threads that don't make sense unless you've been lurking for years. I got there through a forum called Switchback. You can't find it on Google. It only pops up through Tor, and you need an invite code that rotates every 6 hours. I found a code buried in an old Twitter thread that had been ratioed into oblivion. Just some random guy replying, "Use this while you can 9S3FGH21X88" to a completely unrelated tweet about SpaceX. Weird, right? Anyway, Switchback is where things got bad. The forum looked like it hadn't been updated since 2003. Black background, green courier font, no avatars. Just users, threads, and files. But instead of your usual buy fake IDs or mystery box for sale crap, it had a section labeled Lost Archives with a subfolder called NASA Apollo Transmission Dumping Restricted. There were like 8 zip files, each about 5 to 10 gigabytes. They had names like Apollo Redacted 07, tapes.zip, not moon, unfilmed, underscore, A11 underscore material, dot zip, Virgo contact, underscore raw, underscore pulses, dot dat. I was already creeped out, but curiosity greater than fear. I downloaded not moon, unfilmed, underscore, A11 underscore material, dot zip, because it sounded like some fake conspiracy theory, goldmine. I figured I could pull some audio and visuals for a creepy analog horror edit. The zip file was password protected, but there was a .txt file in the archive that said, "We never landed on the moon, we landed near it," and then a password. Copy, pasted it, and boom, it unlocked. The folder contained 3 video files in .avi format, all corrupted at first glance. A series of .wav audio clips labeled missionlog.wav through missionlog.wav. A transcript in weird formatting. Looked like someone tried to OCR a typewritten report from 1969, but parts were all glitched and scrambled, like confirm object, not natura, repeat, not natural. Houston, what is that? A JPEG called noise underscore CAVE.jpg, which showed, well, it looked like a part of the moon, except it wasn't grey. The dirt was almost reddish, and there were weird lines, like veins, under the surface. The scariest part? The file metadata. The last modified date was July 19th, 1969. One day before Apollo 11's moonwalk. That night, I couldn't sleep. I played the audio files in Audacity with my headphones on, trying to filter out the static. Most of them were grainy comms chatter, with lines like, adjust trajectory by 3 degrees, no visual on secondary beacon, confirming soft contact with exterior structure. This isn't lunar. Repeat, this is not the lunar surface. Neil is not responding. Buzz, do you copy? What structure? This wasn't the regular Apollo 11 mission chatter. I'd listened to that stuff before for a class. This was different. Wrong. Somewhere around file mission logs 08.wave, I heard something that gave me actual chills. I'm looking at it now. It's not alive, but it's not dead either. We need to get out of here. Then, silence. Then, something that didn't sound like static, but like breathing. Wet, low, human breathing. Except the mic wasn't in the helmet. It was outside of it. I shut my laptop. The weird thing is, the files didn't feel fake. They weren't your usual spooky pasta MP3s made with a voice changer. They had all the imperfections of real tape to digital conversions, background hiss, mic pops, even the tiny frequency fluctuations that come from reel to reel tape degradation. These were old, and that JPEG file, .jpg, I reverse image searched it. Nothing. Even used Yandex. 0 matches. But the moon surface looked wrong. Not like any NASA photo you've ever seen. I asked a friend who works part-time with the university's astronomy lab if there were reddish surface areas on the moon. She told me no, only maybe during some earthshine or eclipse conditions, but never like that. Still, I wanted more. So 2 days later, I went back on Switchback and saw a new thread. For those who downloaded the tapes, check your street cameras. There were 6 replies, all usernames I'd seen before, people who'd posted in the Apollo thread. But 3 of those users now had a red status next to their names. Account terminated. That's when I started to feel watched. I live in a basement apartment near Capitol Hill in Seattle. Quiet neighborhood, plenty of students. We've got a ring cam out front, just a standard motion detecting camera my roommate installed. That night, I checked the app out of paranoia. There was a video from 4:12 a.m. The camera had triggered. The footage shows a tall figure wearing a NASA jumpsuit, not a costume, like a real one. Patches, dirt stains, the whole thing. But the visor on the helmet was all black. No reflection, no face. They just stood there, in front of our door, for 17 minutes, not moving. Then they turned their head, slowly, toward the camera. Not their body, just the helmet, and the feed cut out. No audio, just static. When I rewatched the clip the next morning, it was gone, deleted from the cloud. My roommate thought I was messing with him. I swear I'm not. Let me know if you guys want me to keep going. But if you find a file online claiming to be from Apollo 11 unfilmed, don't open it. They're not showing you the moon. They're showing you what's under it. It started with an error message, not your typical file corrupt or missing codec kind of thing. It was just a black screen with red flashing text that pulsed once every 3 seconds. This footage was never meant for the public eye. Proceeding is a liability to conscious stability. The warning just looped like that for about 30 seconds, with a deep rumbling noise underneath it, like something moving beneath a mountain. That's the only way I can describe it. Then it cut to black, no sound, and slowly the video started. It was called redacted_AP11_CAM-F.AVI. No metadata, no timestamp, but it looked like onboard footage from a handheld camera, shaky VHS quality, the kind you'd expect from some military documentary hidden for decades. But here's the thing, it wasn't on the moon, or at least not the moon we know. The surface was wrong. Everything looked too flat, too sterile. The ground wasn't dusty. It was smooth, like glass that had been melted and hardened again. The sky was pitch black, obviously, but not the usual black you see in space. This was moving. I mean that literally. The sky pulsed in and out like it was breathing, slowly, with a rhythm, like something alive was exhaling behind the fabric of space itself. The camera turned to show the astronauts. There were 4 of them. That's the first thing that made me stop. Apollo 11 only had 3 crew members, Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins. But this footage had 4 suited figures. One of them didn't have a name patch. His helmet visor was pitch black, like the one I saw in the ring camera footage from my house. A void. No reflection, no glare, just a flat obsidian oval where a human face should have been. The camera holder, whoever it was breathing hard. You could hear it crackling through the mic, uneven, like they were panicking but trying not to show it. Then came the sound, not static, not interference. It was knocking, from beneath them. I swear to God, I mean that literally. There was rhythmic, hollow knocking coming from under the ground, like someone or something was trapped inside the moon and wanted out. 3 knocks. Pause. 4 knocks. Pause. 7 knocks. That sequence repeated over and over. The video panned down to the ground, and I could see it. A small indentation forming, almost like the glass surface was bending inward. But the astronauts weren't reacting. They didn't even look down. The one without a patch just stood perfectly still, head tilted like he was listening. Then one of the others spoke. It was Armstrong's voice. It was unmistakable. Control. We have visual contact with it. Structure is rectangular, too smooth for erosion. It wasn't formed here. I repeat, it wasn't made here. Another astronaut, probably Buzz, cut in. There's no crater, no impact. It's embedded beneath the crust. This isn't natural. They moved forward, and the camera zoomed in. A dark line had formed about 20 feet ahead of them. It looked like the ground had split. Not cracked, but split clean, like a laser had sliced it. They were standing on the edge of something massive, something ancient. The camera flickered, and then everything changed. Suddenly, we were inside. No cut, no transition. Just inside. The room was enormous, bigger than a football field, completely smooth and silver black, like obsidian that had been machine carved. The architecture didn't make sense. Angles were wrong. Walls curved inward and up at the same time. I don't even know how to describe it. The 4 figures were walking forward. The 4th man was still silent, and then the audio glitched again. What came next didn't feel like video. It felt like something watching me watch it. The screen began to distort, pulling in on itself. A low droning started up, somewhere between a dial-up tone and a human scream, slowed down to 0.1x speed. You could hear whispers layered beneath it, thousands of them, in different languages: Spanish, Arabic, Russian, Japanese, backwards English, all repeating the same phrase. It was never the moon. It was the lid. And then the astronaut stopped. Dead center of the chamber stood what I can only describe as a coffin, 10 feet tall, covered in spiraling insect-like runes, metallic, and it was open, but there was no body, only a void inside, not black, not empty, just a space where your eyes couldn't stay focused, like trying to look at something your brain refuses to process. One of the astronauts started screaming like he was being burned alive. But his suit was fine. He was just screaming. The 4th man turned, and for the first time, the camera got close to him. And, yeah, I wish I could forget what I saw. Behind the visor was no face, no skull, no eyes, just skin, stretched smooth over where a face should be, like someone had pulled a latex mask too tight over an empty socket. And when the camera zoomed in, the skin moved. It was breathing. The screen cut to black. No credits, no outro, just a single line of green text. And now you know why we never went back. I slammed my laptop shut. I was shaking, not figuratively. I was literally trembling like I was freezing. I couldn't tell if I was about to puke or cry or scream. For the next 2 days, my phone wouldn't stop acting up. Random screen flickers. Battery drained in minutes. My Discord account logged out mid-call and couldn't be recovered. I woke up to 26 missed calls from unknown number. No voicemail, just silent seconds-long recordings. And then the dream started. I was back in that chamber, but this time I wasn't watching. I was walking. Same footsteps, same rhythmic knocks from below, and always, that fourth man, just standing at the end of the hall, helmet fogged up, visor black, waiting, watching. On the fourth night, I woke up to the smell of burning plastic. My laptop, my actual physical MacBook, was melting. The screen had cracked open and the keyboard was warping. I had to dump it in the sink to stop it from catching fire. But before it went completely black, the screen flashed one last thing. A message burned into the pixels. You saw the inside. Now the inside sees you. There's more. I haven't even talked about the second video, the one labeled reentry_failure_cam09.avi. That one had footage of an astronaut floating inside his suit, but the body was liquefied, still moving, still twitching. But I need to gather myself before I write about that. If you're reading this and you've seen the Apollo tapes too, DM me. I know I'm not the only one, but be warned, we never went to the moon. We opened it, and it's not closed anymore. There are sounds the human body should never make. I'm not talking about screams, bone cracks, or anything you hear in horror movies. I mean the kind of sound that happens after the screaming stops. The kind of wet, meaty slosh of a person forgetting what shape they're supposed to be, but still trying to move, still trying to breathe. That's what part 3 of the tapes gave me. The second video in the dump, titled reentry_failure_cam09.avi, wasn't even mentioned in the weird text files that came with the .zip. It was hidden in the metadata of the main folder, buried in a System32 style subdirectory named mantle_seepage. You couldn't see it unless you mounted the archive on a VM. It was exactly 9 minutes and 17 seconds long. The moment it started, I could tell this wasn't moon footage. The setting was claustrophobic, narrow, dim, flickering, with red emergency lights. It looked like the inside of a space capsule. Walls lined with pale insulation panels, control boards cracked, wires hanging like veins from a dissected body. Everything shook like it was falling, and in the corner of the screen, partially obscured by static and grime, was a label, modified with LM reentry, Johnson Atoll Decay Orbit. Johnson Atoll isn't on any Apollo mission log. It's a real place, though. A remote nuclear testing site in the Pacific, long decommissioned. But this capsule, it was coming down, or trying to. There were 3 astronauts in frame, all in suit, but one, slumped over near the viewport, was moving wrong. Like gravity had rewritten the way his muscles were supposed to flex. His spine arched backwards, mouth wide open, but no sound. Just that horrifying body movement, like someone having a seizure underwater, limbs twitching like puppet strings tangled by rats. The camera panned slightly, revealing the suit's name patch. C. Randall. There is no astronaut named C. Randall in NASA's archives. None. I looked. I asked on obscure Reddit threads, deep Discord servers, even DM'd a guy who used to work for a Cold War aerospace lab in Texas. He blocked me when I asked about the name. The footage cut to black for half a second, then returned. Now the camera was floating, not being held, just drifting in 0G, lazily spinning inside the capsule. It caught glimpses of the control panel. Every button was flipped, not physically, like the icons were reversed, Letters were backwards, numbers curved into symbols I've never seen in any Earth-based language. Then I heard something, not speech, not static, a hum. It started low, deep, like whale song recorded in a sewer, but it kept rising, higher, shriller, building towards something not meant for human ears, and overlaid, beneath it, was something worse, a voice, speaking perfectly clear English, whispering into the left audio channel. Gravity does not forget its sacrifices. Your flesh is not coded for return. The moon was never sterile. It was sleeping. Then came the impact. The capsule struck something, not the ocean, not Earth. There was a scream, but it didn't come from a mouth. The walls of the capsule screamed. The metal itself screeched, groaned like it was alive. The panel near the back split open. Something came in, not through the airlock, through the wall. It didn't break the wall. It phased through it. It bent the metal like silk, not tearing, but folding. The screen distorted with digital artifacts. The camera's lens shattered in slow motion, but the footage kept going, like we were seeing through something else's eyes now. There was a hand, only it wasn't shaped right. Too many joints. Bone under the skin bulged and moved independently. It was gray, but not alien gray. This was flesh-colored, like a man who'd been buried in permafrost for a century. Then, that hand touched Randall's helmet. He exploded. That's not exaggeration. He didn't combust or pop. His entire body imploded in reverse, like something reached in through his faceplate and unzipped every organ in his body at once. His ribs peeled from his chest, like fingers unrolling from a clenched fist. His spine uncoiled. The sound was... I can't describe it. It wasn't gore. It was corruption, like watching life itself being deleted in real time. Red mist hung in 0G, but instead of drifting, it congealed. It moved toward the camera. The last thing visible before total static was a face pressing against the lens. Only it wasn't a face. It was every face. Imagine someone trying to sculpt a human head from memory, but using 10,000 different references at once. A screaming child, a weeping mother, a rotted skull, all layered, warped, pulsating beneath translucent skin. It whispered one last phrase, this time directly into both audio channels. They sent me back wrong. The file ended, but it didn't close. Instead, my screen flickered, and the AVI turned into an EXE. I watched the icon shift in real time. The file name changed to progenitorfeed.exe. I didn't open it. I couldn't. My entire laptop locked up. The fan screamed like a dying animal, and the screen went white. Not blue screen, white screen, for 10 full minutes. When it returned, all my files were gone. Everything. My photos, my music, my school projects, my backups, all replaced with a single folder, /return_VESSEL, inside, a single image, .png file, no thumbnail. I opened it. It was a satellite photo of Earth taken from the ISS. Nothing special, until I zoomed in. Over Seattle, my city, there was a shadow, not a cloud, not weather. Something massive, partially transparent, folded over the atmosphere, and underneath it, a shape, towering, humanoid, but wrong. The proportions didn't line up. Its arms were too long. It had no head. And beneath it, directly in the middle of downtown Seattle, was a red dot, a marker, my street, my building, my apartment. That was 2 nights ago. Since then, my body's been doing things. I wake up with bruises in the shape of fingers around my ribs. My nails fall off in the shower and grow back by the next day. I look in the mirror, and for a split second, just a second, my reflection's eyes are on a delay. I got a voicemail from a blocked number, just static, but when I ran it through a spectrogram, it showed coordinates. Antarctica, right outside a known entrance to an abandoned Cold War base, one tied to something called Project Icehorn. I googled it. There's no public record, but on Switchback, someone made a thread. No text, no context, just a still frame. It showed the same fourth astronaut, helmet black, suit frozen solid, standing in front of a hole in the ice. And behind him, peeking out of the dark, was the face. That face. Melted, collapsed, rebuilt from memory. Wrong. Human. Too human. And on the bottom of the image, in blood-colored text, Part 3 was never supposed to be seen. But before I post that, I have to go. My ceiling has been dripping since midnight. Not water, something thicker. And I just got a knock on the door. 3 knocks, 4 knocks, 7 knocks. Again, I didn't answer the door. I sat in the corner of my living room, phone flashlight off, back pressed against the wall like a rat in a glue trap. I don't even remember how long I stayed there. Time got weird. At some point, I blinked, and my kitchen clock was 5 hours ahead. I don't even think I slept. Whatever was outside didn't knock again, but it left something. The next morning, when I finally opened the door, there was a black envelope duct taped to it. No name, no address, just 3 symbols drawn in silver ink. A crescent moon, a spiral, an upside-down skull. Inside, a single SD card and a folded sheet of printer paper with nothing but an IP address and 4 words written in shaky block letters. Don't show the sky. I plugged the card into my backup laptop, a junk Chromebook from college, fully expecting it to brick the moment I clicked anything. But instead, it opened cleanly. One folder, marked ICEHORNLEVEL0. Inside, 9.mp4 videos, all exactly 11 minutes and 11 seconds long. No metadata, no titles, but the thumbnail showed something white, cold, fractured, Antarctica. The first video starts with chopper footage, real military-grade stuff. You can hear the blades chopping, radio chatter in the background, some guy with a thick Dutch accent confirming altitude and wind speed. The camera's mounted on the belly of the aircraft, and it's flying over what looks like the edge of the world. Everything below is a sinkhole, not a natural one. This was carved, spiraling downward like a screw being bored into the Earth's crust. The outer rim was lined with metal pylons, half buried in the ice, like ribs on a fossilized corpse. And dead center, where the hole goes darkest, is a hatch, circular, rusted, covered in symbols that look like they were scraped into the steel with fingernails. Cut to ground footage. A soldier, you can see his tag, SGTMEYERS, is walking into the ice shaft, GoPro strapped to his helmet. He's breathing heavy. Everything echoes. As he goes deeper, the walls change. Ice turns black. Not dirty, just wrong. Like obsidian trying to imitate frost. The texture is oily. You can hear him whisper, "It's breathing. I swear to God, it's breathing." They reach the hatch. It's open. Inside, a tunnel that doesn't match the size of the opening. Smaller, tighter, almost intestinal. The team, 4 soldiers, 1 civilian in a hazmat suit, crawls in. For the next 8 minutes, nothing happens. Just endless dark tunnels and whispers that aren't coming from the team. Female voices, children laughing, words no one reacts to. Then at 8:43, the civilian stops and stares at the wall. He starts convulsing, but not violently, more like something inside his suit is trying to get out. The camera gets close. Under his face shield, you can see his eyes rotating in opposite directions, like they're searching for different things, and his lips are moving. He says, "There's another Earth. It's inside this one." He pulls off his helmet. Before anyone can stop him, he bites off his own tongue. Blood sprays onto the black ice. It doesn't splash. It sinks in, like the wall is drinking it. Then the wall opens, like a sphincter. Behind it, everything is organic. Flesh walls, thick veins pulsing with black fluid. The soldiers start panicking, but their radios cut out. The footage glitches here. Frames skip, colors invert. Then the worst part. The tunnel floods, not with water, with light. But the light is wet. It moves. It sticks to skin. One soldier starts screaming, "It's inside my thoughts," before he snaps his own neck backward like a chicken and collapses. And inside the tunnel, something moves. It's not humanoid. It's not anything. Just motion. A blur of limbs that don't attach to anything. Shapes that bend too many times. Faces flashing like strobe lights across a surface that won't settle into one shape. All the remaining cameras short out. Hard cut to black. I watched all 9 videos, each one worse than the last. In the 6th one, they send a drone down a shaft so narrow it crushes itself halfway through. And still the feed keeps going. In the 8th, you hear someone singing in a voice that matches no human register. The spectrogram spells out a word, progenitor. And in the final video, Icehorn 9, you see the Earth from orbit. Only it's not Earth. It's darker. Clouds are wrong. The oceans are red. Continents are twisted. Australia is missing. There are cities of light in places where no cities exist. A giant black bloom pulses out of Antarctica, like a tumor eating the planet from within. There's a date in the corner, September 16th, 2025 today. Then the video ends, but my webcam turns on. No joke, light pops on, even though my browser's closed. My antivirus up to date. I cover the lens. A message appears on my screen. Eye contact, establish preparing vessel for extraction. Do not look at the sky tonight. I yank the power cord. Laptop goes black. But for a moment, just one, I swear I saw my own face on the screen. Only older, rotting. Since then, the world has gotten stranger. News stories vanish. I saw a tweet from a verified SpaceX employee claiming they picked up an anomaly in orbit. The tweet had over 18,000 likes. I clicked it. Gone. Account deleted. A guy on TikTok live streamed something falling from the sky in Norway. Not a meteor. He called it a folding machine made of bone. His stream ended mid-sentence. His account suspended. And 2 days ago, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Just a photo. A blurry satellite image of me. Walking home, except I was looking up, and something in the sky above me was looking down. I tried telling people, cops, friends, my professor, all gone. No, literally gone. Emails bounce, phones disconnected, socials wiped. My roommate's room is empty, clothes gone. No trace he ever lived here. And last night, the moon was red, but not like an eclipse. It was pulsing, throbbing like a heart. And I swear to God, I swear, there was a silhouette walking across it. I don't think these videos were warnings. I think they were blueprints. And now that I've seen them, I'm starting to remember things I've never lived. Like I've been here before. Like I'm part of something older than language. My skin itches. I don't sleep. When I close my eyes, I hear the countdown. Not from Houston, from beneath me, underground, below the basement of the world. And it's getting closer. If I survive, I'll post it. If not, check the moon tonight. If it looks back at you, it's already too late. It's not a story anymore. It never was. This is a transmission. This is my last breath, trapped in letters. A broadcast from what used to be a human mind, bleeding itself dry onto a keyboard before something else finishes the override. Because I saw it. I saw the full file, the one no one's supposed to live through. It was locked in a secondary partition of the SD card, hidden inside a corrupted .dll file named cgh737.nope. My machine tried to quarantine it automatically. My hands didn't let it. I opened it manually. It didn't open as a video file. It opened as a program. The screen went black, and then it spoke. Welcome back, Mission 9. Subject 4. Return protocol has initiated. You left yourselves behind. And the feed turned on. It was not Earth. It was what's underneath Earth. The inside I keep seeing in my dreams. The breathing machine below the crust. The metal and flesh chambers pumping blood and electricity into the hollow body of the planet. The footage was first person, not a drone. Someone's eyes. Something was waking up. Its hands came into view. Long, human at first. Then the joints began to reverse. Fingernails sucked back into the skin, like teeth retreating into gums. Skin peeled and flaked off, like it was only ever a placeholder. A breathing sound started, but the lungs weren't in the chest. They were in the walls. This vessel, if you want to call it that, was inside a machine the size of the Earth's mantle. A prison, a gestation chamber, a storage unit for something ancient enough to remember light before stars. The HUD glitched, revealing a list of coordinates. One of them was mine. My city, my building, my bedroom. But the vessel wasn't looking at Earth anymore. It was inside it, crawling through a lattice of bone scaffolding and ossified steel, where walls hummed like predator lungs and veins dangled like vines from a collapsing ecosystem. Something followed it. The camera glitched, audio popped. You could hear skinning, not flesh. Reality, like a curtain being ripped from the bones of physics. It kept saying, we were not the first ones here. We were the first ones they let remember. Cut. A room, identical to mine. The video feed now showed me, sitting at my desk, watching, right now, as I typed this. Only it wasn't me. It was something that grew inside my absence, skin tight, unmoving, breathing in reverse. It watched me from the screen and then reached forward, and my webcam snapped. No warning, just a spark and the faint smell of hair burning. I jumped back, and the screen glitched into full static. I tried unplugging the power. The battery, still glowing. Now there was a new folder on my desktop, /mother-wake/inside it. One file, .wmv.apollo0, the forgotten mission. There was never an Apollo 0, not on any record, not on any data leak, because it wasn't meant to launch. It was meant to sink. The footage showed an underground launch site, not NASA, not Soviet. Something deeper, darker, no flags, no human signatures. There was a launch pad submerged in blood, or maybe oil, or both. Floating on the surface were identical bodies, cloned men, all with half-grown faces and open, empty eye sockets. The rocket itself was flesh-wrapped, not built, grown, a living missile, twitching, no fire from the thrusters, no countdown, just a pulse of force, and the vessel shot downward, through the earth, straight into the core. There, it saw her, the mother. The reason the moon isn't a moon, the reason the moon is locked in Earth's gravitational pull, like a nail jammed into a coffin, The footage was incomplete, bits corrupted, skipping frames, but the shapes it showed, I feel them in my spinal fluid now. There was a mass in the center of the earth, a humanoid silhouette, billions of miles tall, bent backward into the fetal position, arms tangled in Saturn-like rings of muscle and light, eyes sewn shut with golden thread, mouth covered in rotating slabs of bone with whispering lips inside them, all speaking different names for God. The rocket hit her directly in the chest. She woke up. Every seismic event since 1969. Those weren't quakes. They were her heartbeat. And it's speeding up. Because we triggered her. The tapes were never about space. They were never about discovery. They were rehearsals, test subjects, reliving fragments of the first time she tried to leave. The moon was the lock. The rocket was the key. And now the gate is open. Final footage. I don't know how it ended up here. I don't know if I'm dreaming or if this is some cross-contamination between timelines, but I watched it. A satellite feed from 5 hours into the future. The sky's black, but not from night. From veins. Veins spreading across the sky like cracks in a window. The clouds pulse with electrical discharge. People running in the streets, pointing up, screaming, cameras frying, birds crashing mid-air. And in the moon, there's a mouth, not metaphorical, not a crater, a gaping, breathing, salivating maw, lined with teeth that don't belong in our biology. One frame showed the surface rippling, and a hand, her hand, reaching out, reaching down, reaching through me. The screen went black, and now, I can't stop hearing the moon. It speaks in my own voice. It calls me by names I've never heard, but feel familiar. Names like Final Host, Inverted Soul, Mouth of Her Nerve. I haven't eaten in 3 days. My blood is turning silver in the light. My veins vibrate at night. I wake up hovering 3 inches above my bed. My cat won't come near me. My reflection keeps blinking when I don't. There's a message burned into my ceiling now. It appeared yesterday. The earth was a womb. You were never born. You were placed. Now you're being recalled. I think I know what the return vessel is. It's not a ship. It's a body. Mine. Yours. All of us. Everyone who's watched those tapes, opened those folders, looked at that moon long enough for it to look back. We're not going to die. We're going to be rewritten. And the worst part? We already were. We just didn't know it until we started remembering what we weren't allowed to forget. If this post disappears, it means I've been synced. If it stays up, it means the infection works through signal, through stories, through ideas, through you. So I'll leave you with this. Look at the moon tonight, just for a second. Stare long enough until it blinks. Then ask yourself, which version of you is looking up, and which one is already inside? I found a dark web video of Robin Williams, recorded the night before he died. Yo, what's up guys? I don't even know how to start this, but if you're reading this, just don't be like me. Don't chase weird stuff online for fun. I really thought it'd just be another late night rabbit hole. Just some creepy internet lore for a laugh. I couldn't have been more wrong. I guess I should start from the beginning. This happened about 3 months ago. I'm a 20-year-old college dropout. Nothing tragic. I just didn't vibe with the whole system. I live in a small apartment in Columbus, Ohio, and I mostly do freelance graphic design for Twitch streamers and small brands. It pays enough to cover rent, Wi-Fi, DoorDash, and the occasional blunt, so I ain't complaining. Anyway, One random Thursday night, I was chilling in my room, scrolling Reddit and watching YouTube on my second monitor. It was around 2:30 a.m., my usual brain gets weird hour, and I came across this post on r/deep web exploration titled, "Someone selling a video of Robin Williams recorded the night before he died. Real or ARG?" Now look, I've always been kinda obsessed with creepy stuff. Like, I grew up watching those animated horror story channels on YouTube. Mr. Nightmare, Here's My Story, all that stuff. Plus, I was a huge Robin Williams fan. Jumanji, Dead Poet Society, Good Will Hunting. Dude was a legend. So I clicked. Obviously. The comments were wild. People were debating whether it was real, some saying it was just a dark web, ARG, or part of an upcoming horror game. But then someone posted a link. Not a Tor link, just a regular short URL. I won't post the link here for obvious reasons, but I was curious, like dumb curious. So I clicked. The page was super minimal, black background, white text that read, "Only those who truly want to know the truth may proceed." There was a countdown, 30 seconds, no logos, no buttons, just that. And behind the text, a faint looping video played of a hotel hallway. Looked old, maybe early 2000s, VHS quality. At first, I thought it was a GIF or stock footage, but something about it felt off. I should have left right there. But nah. Curiosity won. I waited out the countdown. At 00, it glitched. Like, my whole browser froze for a second, then reopened into this weird, hidden video player. No branding, no controls, just a black and white screen, and the word, "Recovered clip, August 10th, 14, San Francisco," which, for anyone who doesn't remember, is the day before Robin Williams was found dead. The video opened with static, loud, like analog horror-style distortion, then a hard cut to what looked like a hotel room, dimly lit, maybe a Marriott or something. You could just make out the wallpaper, one of those ugly yellowish floral patterns that smell like cleaning products and old sweat. The camera was positioned in a corner, high up, like security cam level, but it was shaky, handheld. You could hear someone breathing behind the camera, slow, like they were nervous. And then he walked into frame. Robin Williams. I swear on everything, it was him. Same face, same posture, same voice when he spoke, except he didn't seem okay. He sat on the edge of the bed, talking to the camera, but it wasn't like a vlog or anything. He wasn't smiling. He looked tired, like deeply tired. Bags under his eyes, pale. He said, "This isn't a confession. This isn't a goodbye. This is insurance." Then it cut, hard, like instant glitch. Then another clip played. This time, he was in a different outfit. Same room, but now there was someone else in the room. A man in a black hoodie, sitting in the corner. Couldn't see his face. He wasn't moving, just watching him. Robin kept talking, rambling about how he knew too much, how Disney never lets anything die, and something about laughing so hard they'll never hear you scream. Brother, that line gave me chills. Like, what does that even mean? The clip ended with him getting up and walking out of frame, but then the camera, whoever was holding it, stood up and slowly followed. And then the screen went black. At this point, I'm sitting there frozen, heart racing. It felt like I just watched something I wasn't supposed to see. Not like a leaked celebrity video or whatever. Like something way darker. I refreshed the page. Gone. 404 error. I checked my history. The URL vanished. Literally vanished. Even my cache got wiped. And then my screen glitched. No joke, like actual visual glitches. Little lines across the screen, static flickers, then a pop-up appeared. Just one word. Why? I shut my laptop so fast, I nearly cracked the screen. I sat there in the dark for a second, dead silent. Then my phone buzzed. I picked it up. Unknown. Number. Do you believe him? That was it. Just that message. I didn't reply. Just turned my phone off, unplugged my router, and sat in my kitchen with a baseball bat, like that was gonna help me. I couldn't sleep that night. The next morning, I tried to tell a friend about it, my buddy Cameron, who's into this deep web stuff too. But when I went to open Reddit again, I got a ban message. You have violated the rules of spaces not meant for you. Reddit banned my whole account, even my alternative. Now here's the part that keeps me up. The video didn't feel fake, like it didn't have that horror ARG vibe. No creepypasta background music, no forced acting. It felt like something real, something someone didn't want out there. And that line, Disney never lets anything die. What does that even mean? I started researching, and that's when I found the weirdest thing. In 2013, a full year before he died, Robin Williams filed a clause in his will that his image and likeness couldn't be used in movies, commercials, or media for 25 years after his death. So no deepfakes, no holograms, no AI versions. It's almost like he knew something was coming, and now I think I'm being watched. There's a white van parked across the street from my apartment. It's been there 3 days now. Doesn't move, no license plates, and sometimes at night, I swear I hear faint laughter coming from my laptop, even when it's closed. There's this thing I've noticed since that night, the night I watched the video. It's like the world got quieter, not in a peaceful way, not like a Zen retreat in the woods kind of quiet. It's the type of quiet where something is missing, like the hum of electricity in a dead house. Birds don't chirp outside my window anymore. The usual drunk guy who screams across the street at 3 a.m. Gone. Even the TikTok audio loops from the apartment upstairs suddenly stopped. It's like the moment I saw that footage, something reached out and touched my life and didn't let go. 3 days after I saw the Robin Williams video, I went to a Starbucks downtown, just trying to feel normal again. It was one of those newer locations near the Short North in Columbus. Sleek interior, high-end lighting, the kind of place where everyone pretends to be productive on their MacBooks while watching YouTube videos with AirPods in. I walked in, ordered a venti cold brew, and sat by the window. The barista gave me a weird look when I paid. Not "you're cute" or "you look sketchy" weird. It was more like she recognized me, like she'd seen me somewhere before. She tilted her head slightly and said, "You're not supposed to be here." I laughed awkwardly and sat down. Figured she was just being a hipster weirdo. But the second I took a sip of my drink, my stomach dropped. The cold brew tasted off, not like sour milk or bad beans. It tasted like iron, like blood. I threw it away and went to splash some water on my face in the bathroom. That's when everything went completely sideways. The Starbucks bathroom was one of those single stall, all gender setups. Clean, quiet, too quiet. When I opened the door, the lights were flickering. The motion sensor didn't click on like it should have. Instead, the second I stepped inside, the door slammed shut behind me. No breeze, no draft. It just slammed. I turned to open it. Locked. The lock turned on its own. At first, I thought maybe it was just broken. I pulled harder. Then the light above the mirror blinked violently, like someone was flipping the switch on and off. And then it stayed off. Now I'm standing in pitch black, using my phone's flashlight, like a campfire. I look up at the mirror and notice something written in condensation, even though it wasn't even hot in there. Just 4 words. He never hung himself. That was when I heard it. A voice coming from the sink drain. It was Robin's voice, but not how you remember it from his movies. It was distorted, wet sounding, like he was speaking from underwater with a throat full of gravel. He was repeating something over and over, whispering with this horrible rasp. They took my face. They took my voice. They took my laugh. It sounded like he was sobbing and laughing at the same time, like he was breaking down and trying to hold it together. I turned to run, but then the mirror, the actual glass, started to ripple. Not crack, ripple, like water. And slowly, a face started pressing out of the glass, like something was trying to crawl through it. It was his face, Robin's, but his eyes were gone. Not gouged out, removed, like someone had scooped them cleanly with surgical precision, and his skin looked like it had been peeled off and reapplied by someone who didn't know how human faces were supposed to fit. It was stretched wrong, jaw too low, lips too tight, like a deep fake from hell. He was mouthing something I couldn't hear, so I leaned in. My phone buzzed. A notification from Snapchat. You've received a memory from August 11th, 2014. That's the day he died. My blood ran cold. I opened it, and it was a video of me, sitting on the bed in the exact hotel room from the video, the exact floral wallpaper, the same lighting. I was laughing, loudly, uncontrollably, but my eyes in the video were dead, glossed over, pupils dilated like someone had injected me with something. And behind me in the video, standing in the corner, was that man in the black hoodie. That's when I blacked out, not passed out, blacked out, like something turned off the light inside me. I woke up on the floor of the Starbucks bathroom 30 minutes later, according to my phone. The lock was off. The lights were back on. No writing on the mirror. No voices. But there was one thing that hadn't been there before. A single paper Starbucks cup sitting perfectly upright on the sink. On the side, written in Sharpie, it said, "We never let him leave." And underneath, laugh tracks hide the screams. I didn't go home. I booked an Uber to a cheap motel across town. I needed space to think. When I got there, I plugged my phone in and scrolled Twitter just to distract myself. That's when I found a thread. It had 1 retweet and 0 likes. It was from a burner account, @faceless_theater. The thread started with, "There are 9 unreleased Robin Williams recordings stored in a restricted Disney vault beneath the Burbank studio. They contain audio taken under duress. Laughter is weaponized. You're not supposed to hear what the studio removed." Then it listed coordinates. I looked them up on Google Maps. It took me to a closed-down Chuck E. Cheese just outside Burbank, California. The building had been under renovation for 4 years. The last known Yelp review said all the animatronics had been removed, or at least they should have been. The deeper I dig, the more things unravel. There's a theory floating around in the darkest parts of the deep web that Robin didn't take his own life, that he was part of something bigger, something Hollywood tried to erase. People believe he uncovered a classified CIA program called Project Punchline, a psychological torture technique using artificially generated laughter to drive test subjects insane. They'd inject subjects with a neurostimulant and play looped laugh tracks for 72 hours straight. Robin was allegedly approached to help develop the emotional tone for a film meant to mask it. He refused, and then he hung himself. But here's the thing, the coroner's report was incomplete. The scene was closed off unusually fast. No toxicology report made public, and his body was cremated within 48 hours, against his family's original request. Even weirder, in a behind-the-scenes video from Night at the Museum 3, Robin reportedly told a crew member, "If they tell you I laughed myself to death, don't believe it." Last night, I was laying in the motel bed when my phone turned on by itself. Just lit up, 1% battery, then started playing audio. No app, no screen, just a voice. "We're coming for your laugh next." I don't know how they're doing this, but I haven't laughed in 4 days, not even a chuckle. I keep hearing static in my ears, like a faint laugh track in my own head. And when I look in the mirror now, my face doesn't match my ID anymore. My eyes are wrong, like they've been replaced. I'm heading to Burbank. I found a way into that abandoned Chuck E. Cheese. I need to see what's down there. If this is the last thing I post, just remember one thing. If you ever hear laughter and nothing's funny, you're not alone. I'm not sleeping anymore. I'm not dreaming. Whatever part of my brain used to tell me this is real and this is a dream, it's gone. Gone like the birds. Gone like the warmth in my skin. Gone like him. I haven't laughed in 10 days. My face physically won't let me. It's like my muscles remember what I saw. And now, I can't even trust my fridge. 3 nights ago, 3:14 a.m., I woke up gasping like I'd been drowning in my own lungs. It felt like someone had reached into my chest and squeezed the air out of me like a balloon. I don't remember falling asleep, and I definitely don't remember dreaming. But I woke up laughing, not normal laughing. It was slow, glitchy, like it was coming from outside my body. I ran to the bathroom mirror. My mouth was smiling, but I wasn't. I wasn't even thinking anything funny. My eyes were soaked in tears and bloodshot, but my face was grinning like I was watching the funniest TikTok ever made. Then I realized the laughter wasn't coming from me. It was coming from the kitchen. I grabbed a kitchen knife, not for protection, more like to feel real again. Something sharp to remind me that this wasn't a sick dream. I crept into the kitchen, fridge door wide open, light on, humming, loud, too loud, like it was trying to drown something else out. And sitting right in the middle of the top shelf, next to my half-empty Red Bull and moldy eggs, was a black VHS tape. No label, no case, just raw plastic with a sticky strip of faded red duct tape across it. In smeared pen ink, it said, "Laugh Track 07, The Comedian's Wake." Now, here's the thing. I don't own a VHS player. Haven't since I was a kid, watching The Brave Little Toaster and Space Jam on my grandma's tube TV. But right after I touched the tape, I swear to you, I mean swear on my life, I blinked and was no longer in my kitchen. I was sitting on the floor of my childhood living room. Same faded green carpet, same popcorn ceiling, same old RCA TV humming with that faint whine only you can hear when you're 7 years old and scared. But the room was off. The corners were too sharp. The shadows didn't move right. It was like I'd stepped into a memory someone else had edited. I looked down. The tape was already in a silver VCR labeled Property of Disney Archives. Do not duplicate. I didn't press play. It did it for me. The screen went black. Then a countdown. 3, 2, 1. It cut to a stage. A dark, empty stand-up stage with one spotlight. The audience was just silhouettes. No faces, no hands, no clapping. Just outlines. And standing dead center was Robin. Not the real Robin. Not how he looked in his movies. This version looked hollowed out. Like they took his skin and stretched it over a mannequin that didn't quite fit. He didn't speak. He just stared at the camera with his jaw unhinged slightly. Eyes wide open. Pupils dilated like he'd seen something that shattered the inside of his head. Then came the laugh track. But it was wrong. It wasn't laughter. It was the sound of people choking, gurgling, screaming, dying. They just pitched it up to sound like laughing. I could still hear the gasping underneath it. The Robin on screen began moving his mouth, but the words didn't sink. His lips were flapping like a puppet's. Someone was voicing over him. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to the comedy club for the condemned. The camera panned out. Behind Robin was a wall of TVs, all stacked in a massive pyramid, and every screen was playing a different scene of him, in pain. One showed him strapped to a dentist chair, eyes forced open with metal clamps, laughing through tears, while a robotic arm inserted a microphone down his throat. One showed him in a studio audience, surrounded by people with stitched-on smiles, all clapping on loop while blood dripped from their hands. Another showed him dead, hanging, but the camera zoomed in slowly, and his eyes were blinking, like he was still aware, even in death. Then it cut to static, and a new screen appeared, white text on black. Project, punchline, archive number 7, recovered from vault, classified level 5, laugh until you forget. Then, in a flickering glitch of text, they trained him to laugh through execution. He was the prototype. You are the sequel. I tried to eject the tape. My fingers wouldn't move. My eyes wouldn't blink. I was frozen. I could feel blood running from my nose, thick and warm, dripping onto my shirt. But I couldn't do anything. Then the screen went black again. One final message appeared. We put laughter in your milk. You've been drinking it since childhood. There's no escape. There is only the performance. I blinked, and I was back in my kitchen. Fridge door still open. Tape gone. Blood on my face. Knife in my hand. Now I keep getting these text messages. Same unknown number as before. But now they're timestamps. August 11th, 2014. 3:42 a.m. August 11th, 2014. 3:43 a.m. August 11th, 2014. 3:43 a.m. 3:44 a.m. Every minute from the time Robin was allegedly found dead. There's 74 of them in total. I looked up the metadata for the original leaked video, back when I had access to the deep web before they banned me. That hotel footage? It's 74 minutes long. That means whoever sent me the messages has the full video, not the leaked part, not the distorted 2-minute clip. All of it. I need that video, because I think that 74th minute might show what really happened. But here's where it gets worse. I went to a local thrift store yesterday, trying to find an old VHS player. Figured I'd play the tape again, if it even existed physically. I found one buried under a pile of Beanie Babies and burnt board games. Took it home, plugged it in, turned it on. It didn't play the tape. It played live footage of me, standing in my own room, watching the TV. Camera angle from above me, like there was a camera mounted on the ceiling. But there's nothing there. And on the screen, behind me, walking into frame slowly, was that same man in the black hoodie. Except this time, he turned to look at the camera. I paused the tape, froze the frame. I zoomed in, and I swear to God, it was my face. Not distorted, not deep-faked, not altered. Just me, grinning, wearing the hoodie, holding the tape, eyes missing. I'm not who I was when this started. Something's in my blood now, in my mind, in my reflections. I don't know what I saw that night. I don't know what Robin tried to show the world. But I know this. It was never suicide. It was never sadness. It was silencing. A performance gone wrong. A joke that told itself and laughed back. I'm leaving for Burbank tonight. I have coordinates. There's an elevator in the basement of the abandoned Chuck E. Cheese that doesn't go up or down. It goes inward. If I don't come back, destroy everything. Burn your electronics. Don't drink milk. Don't laugh, especially if nothing's funny. Because if you laugh, they'll know you're ready. Some people wake up to alarms. Some wake up to sunlight. I woke up to notifications. 1:38 a.m. My phone buzzed exactly 17 times in a row. All from the same Instagram account I didn't recognize. No profile picture, just the username, @TheLastLaughingShow. The first notification said, "You've been tagged in a live video." Then another, "You've been mentioned in a comment. Can't believe he's really gone." Then another, "Your funeral is happening now." I don't know how to explain the type of psychotic vertigo that hits you when you see your own name trending under an obituary hashtag. Must rest in laughter. He was so funny. They always smile before they go. I opened Instagram. The live stream was still going. 2.3k viewers. No comments allowed. Location: St. Agnes Memorial Chapel, Los Angeles, California. Only problem is, I'd never been to LA yet, not even once. The screen was black for a few seconds. Then it faded in, and I swear on everything, it was me. My body, in a coffin, mouth stitched shut, eyes sealed with melted plastic, but still twitching, still breathing, like whoever was filming wanted people to know. I wasn't dead. I was laughing inside. The coffin was surrounded by people dressed in Mickey Mouse costumes, not the ones you see at Disneyland. These were too clean, too smooth. Their heads didn't have seams. Their eyes didn't blink. They just stared into the coffin like they were watching a deleted scene from Fantasia's funeral. And at the altar was Robin, but not the Robin I've been seeing, not the hallucination. This version looked younger, cleaner, like how he looked during Aladdin, except his skin had a weird texture, like synthetic rubber stretched over bone, a Disney animatronic made of grief. He turned to the camera and said, "And now, our final act, tonight's performance, the death of the audience." Then he bowed, and everything around him melted. I dropped my phone. When I picked it up again, the live was over, but the stream had saved, and someone had commented on the post before the comments got disabled. "I thought they cremated him." Another comment popped up for a second before being removed. This was pre-recorded. They showed this at the Burbank vault to test reactions. That's when my nose started bleeding again. Not dripping, pouring, like someone had turned a faucet in my skull. I staggered to the sink, hands trembling, vision tunneling, and carved into the bathroom mirror with what looked like a soldering iron were the words, "You laughed. Now you're part of the show. I didn't go to the hospital. I couldn't. I knew they'd scan my head, and whatever they'd find inside would not be human anymore. Instead, I got in my car, headed west. Destination, Burbank, California. The abandoned Chuck E. Cheese. The coordinates led me directly there. I parked around 3:11 a.m. Empty lot, cracked asphalt, spray paint on the side of the building. No rehearsals, only recordings. Windows were covered in aluminum foil. Front door was chained shut, but the delivery hatch behind the building was half open, like someone had been expecting me. I crawled inside. It was freezing, but not like normal cold. This was the kind of cold that felt like it was inside your bones, like it came from a place beneath human temperature. The animatronic stage was still there. The chairs were all turned around to face the wrong direction, like the audience had been watching the wall instead of the show. And in the center of the stage was a single door, not a backstage entrance, not an emergency exit. It was a wooden residential door, like one from an apartment hallway. Beige paint, brass knob, dirty mail slot, a little plaque that read, Unit 74B, property of the Walt Disney Company. I opened the door. It led down, a spiral staircase, made of red velvet and old teeth. Yes, teeth. Human teeth embedded in every step, like broken porcelain. I stepped carefully. The deeper I went, the louder the laughter became. But it wasn't real laughter. It was looped. It had seams, like old MP3s from LimeWire days. It skipped every 7 seconds, just enough to make you feel like you were going insane. After 74 steps, I reached the bottom and found the vault. The room was massive, underground, no lights except for flickering CRT monitors lining the walls. Each monitor was playing a different laugh. Children laughing, old people laughing, a dog barking, slowed down and pitched up until it sounded like hysterical giggling. My own laugh from 10 years ago, from a birthday party I forgot even happened. Then I saw the table in the center of the room, a surgical table, and on it was a human-shaped marionette, face stretched and stapled, mouth locked open with a metal crank, chest cavity replaced with a speaker. Every time it moved, the speaker blared a different joke. Not funny jokes, not even real ones. Why did the man cross the road? Static. Because we cut his legs off and told him the punchline was on the other side. What's black and white and red all over? Sound of a child screaming. A Disney copyright claim gone too far. The puppet turned its head to me, and in a perfect imitation of Robin's voice, it said, "They're going to turn your skin into a soundproof suit. That way, your screams won't mess with the audio quality." I ran up the stairs, but there were no stairs anymore, just a mirror at the top. I reached it, pounding on the glass like it was a window, and inside the reflection was me, standing on stage, wearing the puppet suit, microphone jammed down my throat, Robin's laugh playing on a loop inside my ribcage, and behind me, the man in the hoodie. Except now, he wasn't wearing my face. He was wearing Robin's. I woke up in my car, engine off, dashboard cracked, time on the radio, 8:11 a.m. I looked in the rearview mirror. There was a post-it note stuck to the glass. Instagram Live ends when the audience stops watching. Don't let them stop watching, or you'll really die this time. I opened Instagram. The stream was live again. My body, still in the coffin. Only now, I was smiling. A big, horrible, unnatural grin. And on my chest was a TV remote, taped in place. And the only button that wasn't worn out was laugh. I haven't slept in 13 days. Not since the Chuck E. Cheese basement. Not since I saw the coffin laugh back at me. Every second since has felt like I'm trapped in the world's longest TV pilot, and the audience is waiting for me to break. There's no rest. There's no off switch. The laugh track starts when I open my eyes and doesn't stop, even when I scream, because screaming sounds too much like clapping. I left Burbank that night and drove straight through the desert. No GPS, no map. I just followed the static in my head, the high-pitched buzzing that's now always there, like a tinnitus made of canned laughter. I stopped once, just once, in a small ghost town diner about an hour outside Death Valley. They didn't have a menu. They had a script. The waitress, pale and shaking, handed it to me. I opened it. It read, Episode 1, The Man Who Couldn't Stop Laughing. Inte, diner. Night. Customer enters. He is already infected. The performance begins. I stood to leave, but every booth was suddenly filled with copies of me. Different versions, smiling too wide, eyes filmed over like they'd been dead for weeks. They all turned to me at the same time and said in unison, "You're the punchline, not the setup." I ran to the bathroom, slammed the door, locked it, and threw up blood. When I looked up, there was a new mirror, and carved into it with a dull steak knife was one single message. Project Punchline Pilot. Status: Active Laughter. Confirmed. Subject: 004. Returning to broadcast. Do not allow interruption. Ensure. Crowd control. Ensure. Crowd control. Ensure. Crowd control. Then the lights turned off, and for a full 6 minutes, I was trapped in total darkness, surrounded by the sound of live studio audience laughter. Except it wasn't coming from speakers. It was coming from under the floor. I fled that place and kept driving. Eventually I found another abandoned building. This one wasn't on any map. It was a broadcast station. Old, rusted, maybe from the 60s. The sign on the front had been scratched out with a box cutter, but you could still barely make out the old letters underneath. Punchline Network. 24 inches, I broke in through the side door and followed the sound. Room after room of broken cameras, old makeup chairs, racks of masks, all shaped like Robin's face, each one more twisted and melted than the last, some smiling, some crying, some missing the jaw entirely with wires poking out of the mouth like veins. And then I found the broadcast room. It wasn't powered, but it was alive. There were 9 televisions, arranged in a circle, like some kind of demonic ritual. Each one was broadcasting a different timeline of my life. Altered, off, disturbing. Me at my 6th birthday party, blowing out candles while my parents' heads slowly slumped into their cake, eyes carved out. Me graduating high school, except no one was clapping. The audience was mannequins, and they were crying. Me in my apartment, watching a video, the Robin video, but in this version, I never look away. My face slowly rots as the tape loops infinitely. Me in a hospital bed, laughing while my organs are removed, one by one. A doctor turns to the camera and says, "It's still funny." Me hanging from a ceiling, still breathing, still laughing. A laugh track sinks every creak of the rope. Me sitting on a panel show. Except the other guests are all dead versions of comedians. Colin, Pryor, Foley, and Robin. Their mouths stitched into permanent smiles. The host says, "Welcome to the final show." Me in a therapist's office. Therapist is me. I'm on both couches. One of me is laughing. One is crying. The room burns around us. Me filming this story, but instead of typing, I'm carving each word into my skin with a VHS tape's magnetic strip. My blood spells out hashtags. Me, alone, on a stage, applauding myself in front of an empty audience as a voice says, "Welcome to your rerun." Then the central screen lit up, and it played footage I've never recorded. A full hour-long pilot episode, titled "The One Where He Dies Laughing," and it was shot in multi-camera sitcom format. It had opening credits. It had a theme song. He smiled through pain and walked through fire, but the jokes got old and the laughs expired. Now he's trapped in a show that never ends. Welcome back, your imaginary friends. I stood there, watching myself die in high definition, over and over, edited for prime time. And at the end, a voiceover said, "This pilot was approved by Disney Channel for internal training purposes only. Unauthorized viewers will be converted into audience members. You laughed. You signed the contract. Welcome to syndication." My phone buzzed. Live now at the Last Laughing Show. Tonight's episode, the cancellation. I opened it. It was me, lying on the floor, blood pooling around my head, but I was still laughing. Then the comments started pouring in. He was one of the good ones. Why'd he have to go out like that? Was that even real? I heard this was part of the Robin ARG. Nah, it's fake. I saw the same ending on a Creepypasta TikTok. Someone even commented, "Lol. Just that. Lol. So this is it. This is the last thing I'll ever write. Because I've realized something. There's no difference anymore between fiction and reality, between death and performance, between crying and laughter. It's all one big loop, one big syndicated rerun of a joke no one ever wrote. They took Robin because he figured it out. He realized the audience was never watching him. He was watching us. And now, I can't stop smiling. I can't stop typing. My hands won't stop. My eyes are bleeding again. Every key I hit plays another laugh. Every word is another second of screen time. They're keeping me alive just long enough to finish the episode. They said I was the pilot. But now I understand. I was never the star. I was the laugh track.